If you aren't even, make yourself even. Or if one knee is dangling, make you have some support there. So sitting is like coming home, returning to yourself. And when we sit properly, we aren't just sitting the musculoskeletal body. You know, we're trying to sit with our mind so it's more steady, and so that our center of gravity is in line to the universe, right? This reminds me of some of the stuff that my dear teacher Devin was talking about yesterday, huh, Chaya? So if you think of your own cosmos as your trunk, this is your world, your universe, right? We have these appendages that do a lot of things for our cosmos, our trunk. So here we can use them to help us get more space between this hip crease and the pelvic rim, if you want to call it that, without sticking those ribs out. So use your hands and see that the legs are absolutely relaxed. Center your spine over the tailbone. Feel the broadening of the collarbones. Keep that broadness of the collarbones as you bring your hands to your heart. And just honor your practice with, you can do the ohms to yourself, you can say them out loud, whatever is your choice, but honor your practice with a moment or two, paying homage to all the teachers who've come before us to bring us this practice. Have a good upliftment inside, and again, it's, you know, it's not just that musculoskeletal body that you're uplifting, but you're uplifting your mind and allowing it to be in a comfortable place as well. Distance yourself from anything that went on before class, anything that is going to go on after or tomorrow or the rest of the weekend. Be present, observe yourself well. Something's not right, fix it. You feel more heavy on one buttock than the other, fix it. You feel lopsided, fix it. It's not a bad idea to, you know, once you think you're in a good position, you can just crack open your eyes and see if you look centered. Have an awareness, especially at those hip sockets, and feel sort of a wrapping inward. So the hip sockets stay firm. Outer, you know, the skin around the outer thigh pulls back into the hip socket. But, you know, the knees are relaxed. The shins are down. Bow your heads down. And release your hands on your legs and come up. So we'll do, where's my list? Yeah. You need 2 bricks at the wall for our first downward dog. Well, actually, you're going to use them twice for 2 different versions of downward dog. So the first is to help the shoulders. So you'll put the bricks at the wall the long way, the long, narrow way. Do you have 2 bricks, Brian?
I only have 1, but I can try to get some books.
Yeah, some books is great. Okay. Absolutely. All right. So here's my 2 long bricks, about, you know, shoulder distance apart. Now I have discovered something, because I usually don't teach in the evenings, but I've discovered that I can do a lot more in the evenings than I can at 5:30 in the morning when I normally practice. It's kind of funny. All right. So I find the bricks and I put the heel of the hand into that brick and I extend the fingers forward. I kind of wrap the thumb around the inside of the bricks and then I walk back. Not in a hurry to get the heels down, but I push myself away from the brick and I try to elongate, the upper arms towards the shoulders, the shoulder blades towards the waist towards the hips, and so on. Make my armpit longer and longer. Push the frontal thighs back. Spin the groins inside to outside. So the frontal groins spin in and you feel them turning the thighs out without the backs of the thighs out, Ryan, especially without allowing the calves to bow out. Yeah. Keep those calves in. Okay, and as you are there, has anything changed? Whether it's something small, like some opening in the shoulders, in the armpit area, or something big, like your mind has become engaged in what you're doing. That would be a real positive step in the right direction. Be with the pose, with your mind. Right now, just step up and you'll be about, if you've got your mat there, you'll be about halfway away from the wall, but halfway in the middle of your mat for Arda Siddhasana. So here's the top of my armpit. I'm going to put the heel of my hand at the top of my armpit. Let me get these out of the way. So I'm halfway in between my mat. My feet are hip distance apart. I pick up my toes, extend my toes forward. I try to make sure that the heel is, I just noticed that, right, actually, and I could see that my heel was a little bit in. So I want to make sure my heel is as wide as my little toe side. So I'm actually a little toed in. Here's the top of my armpit. I find the wall. I keep my ears right in line to my biceps. Now I push the wall, engage, press the feet, engage the thighs, the kneecaps lift, the outer hip sockets wrap around to the front of the hip. I don't know if you can feel that, but that's what it's supposed to do. Keep those hip sockets firm. And now pull the tailbone towards the floor or towards your heels. And keep the abdomen or the rib cage from descending towards the floor. Don't allow, in other words, here's the wrong movement, if you can see me, right? I've splayed out, I've let the rib cage drop. So I pull that up, engage those legs, push away from the wall and make my trunk longer. I can look towards the wall and move the dorsal spine in. Arda Uttanasana. It shouldn't be terribly difficult. You should feel a nice opening, more in the armpits, shoulders. Okay, and now come out of that. Now to come into downward dog with the heels on the wall, you'll have to, kneel down. You'll kneel down, place one foot on the brick, and then grab the wall with your heel, place the other foot on the brick. Now, if you can, put your heels down in the corners between the wall and the brick, great. But don't worry about it if you can't, but still work on the actions of the pose. So now it's like you've made yourself, with the hands on the bricks, you made your arms longer. Now you're making your legs longer. Push the thighs back, back, back. Move the shoulder blades in and feel your chest coming closer and closer to your legs. Create space where I was talking about between that hip crease and that hip bone. Your left side is a little lower, Chaya, so lift up the top of the left thigh. Good. Make your kneecaps absolutely firm. Lift your hips and press your thighs back. Okay. Come up. We can get rid of the blocks. We'll take Parshvo-Tanasana, sort of like we did Arda Uttanasana. So about the same distance with the back foot, and you'll step your front foot. So I'll turn out, I guess I'll do the same side as you. You'll turn out your left foot 60 degrees or so, step your right leg forward, reach up like Arda Siddhasana, bend forward. That's a little close for me, so I'm going to go back. So it's different for everyone depending on your proportions, but it's just Arda Parshvo-Tanasana. So I'm pressing the foot, pulling up the thigh, making the outer hip socket firm. It's like I'm pulling it in deeper into the socket. Use the wall, press into the wall, but lengthen your anterior spine forward towards the wall while keeping that tailbone tucked under. Arda Uttanasana. Is that okay? Did you start with level hips, Chaya? So lift that right hip up. Right hip up and back. Yeah, that's better. Yeah. Welcome, Shubha. Yeah, make sure that front knee is straight. Pull it up. I had a teacher once who would always say, wink the kneecap. Wink the kneecap upwards. Okay, and now inhale and come up. So you were like this, and you just inhale and come up, and then step your other leg forward, your other leg back. Get ready to go on the second side. So I'm on the second side with my right leg back and my left leg forward. I'm going to do everything I can to make my hips as level as I can. So I turn the right hip forward, take the right hip back, stand up the pelvis. The arms will help you here. So reach the arms up like Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, find the wall. Keep the arms slightly above. So my hands are slightly above my armpits. And the biceps stay at the ears. Make your trunk long, long. Keep pressing the toes forward of that front foot, front leg, and pull the front thigh up. Yes. Still try this is side, it's better, but the left hip's got to lift up more. There we go. All right, and then inhale and come up. Okay, we're going to do a little series because this being still forward bends, and we are going to get, I hope we'll get to some seated work where we can work on some Padmasana. But if in the forward bends, if our hamstrings are tight, it's no fun. So we're going to do this little series on the wall with traction. So if you don't have two straps, if you have two straps and you have one long strap and one short strap, that's great. If you don't have two straps, you're not going to do it with traction because you're probably going to need the strap to grab your foot width. So I'll show you what it looks like. This is my long strap, and it's going to go on the ball of the left foot and on the hip of the right, with the tail of the strap pulling away from me. Can you see that? Pulling away that way. Okay, and then this one, you either grab your foot or you have another strap, and you'll take the leg up in Supta Padangustasana 1. So get ready, but tell you what, I want to do one other thing before you have the traction belt on, because I don't think I can do it, but I think it'd be better if you didn't have the traction belt on at first. So just have that ready, and you're close into the wall. I think we did this Tuesday, and you see how my knees are bent, my sacrum is flat on the floor, and I've got a hold of the sticky mat. So then I come down, tuck the shoulders under, tuck, 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 and then straighten those legs. Okay, now my mind is going to stay on my left foot pressing into the wall and my left thigh pressing down into the floor as I bring my right leg up into Pavana Muktasana. So bring it in as tight as possible, right? And think of if I tell, I don't want to confuse you, but because it's a hard place to see with the knee so bent, but the very, very top of your femur, right, where the thigh meets your pelvis, that has to go down, has to stay down towards the floor. So compact that leg, bring it in very, very tight, and think of moving the two groins away from each other in this Pavana Muktasana pose. Can you feel that? So the left groin is going towards the left big toe, and the right groin is going towards the floor. All right, so you've got that. Okay, now can you put on your strap? If you're not using the traction, that's just what you're doing. And if you're using it, just go to 90 with this Supta Padangustasana. So here I am at 90, and I'm going to choke down on that strap so that that top of the femur goes down, goes back to the back of the leg and goes down to the floor. I don't know if you can feel that. The top of the lifted leg femur right here goes back and down to the floor. Your sacrum stays on the floor. Your lumbars might lift a little bit. It's okay. As you keep taking that top of the femur to the floor. And I'm also pulling with this strap. Pull that top of the femur down towards the floor and away from your hip bone or away from your waist. Make sense? So it's basically the root of your thigh, root of the right thigh. If you've got the right leg up, the root of the thigh stays back and down, and push that straight, the leg that's going into the wall, down, into the floor and into the foot, into the wall. Now let me bring your attention to the outer socket of the lifted leg. Can you feel when you push the very root of the thigh back and down, can you feel the firmness of that socket? Yes? Yeah? All right. Now you've got your strap, or you've got your hand holding the outside of the opposite hand holding the strap. So left hand holding the strap, and now you're taking your right, I don't know, because some people have, you're taking the leg to the opposite side. So if you've got your right leg up, the right leg is going to the left. So it's the Parivritta version. Okay, now the leg that's at the wall is not turning. It stays pressing into the wall. Straighten the leg, Ryan. Straighten the leg at all costs. Keep it straight. Since you only have one strap, I'm not sure if that's the best use of it because you're not, you probably like how it feels, right? But I'm not sure if it's the best use for it. So your Shubha, your top leg is going to your right. Yeah, and keep going over and over. And keep moving the top of the thigh down of that leg and away from your waist or away from your navel. And the outer hip firm. You won't go very far. Yeah, that's it. You won't go very far. You feel the groins moving away from each other still. So the leg that's at the on the floor has to reach to the wall. Okay, then bring that leg back up. Supta Tadasana. No strap. Both feet into the wall. Both feet into the wall. Supta Tadasana. Tuck the buttocks towards the heels. Make the lower back longer. And rock from side to side and get those shoulder blades to tuck under. So you're really on your outer shoulder bones. Okay, now keep the feet pressing. Okay, and now some of you have the other leg up. So whichever leg you didn't do, take the leg up in a bent Pavana Muktasana. Just bend it up and bring it into the chest as closely as you can bring it. The root of the thigh down and away from you towards the floor. If I was there, Ryan, I'd stand or sit. Might be nicer to sit on your right thigh. Okay, now you're either doing traction or you have two straps, whatever you're managing, but the strap is, if you're doing traction, it's on the top of the thigh. Now, I didn't say this because I was trying to work on the hip socket stuff, but hopefully you know that the back of the thigh from the knee, the top of your knee is going towards the buttock flesh. It's almost more important for you to think about how that root of the thigh stays back and the groins go down towards the floor. Shoulders down, head down, neck long. Iron out the back of your knee. So Ryan, are you holding the belt now? You are holding the belt? Yeah. So if you're holding the back of your leg, that's the opposite direction. The thigh has to move away from you. The root of the lifted leg thigh has to move away. And that groin has got to go down. So don't pull the leg into you. Yeah, that looks good, Shubha. Jaya, yep. I'll just to distract you momentarily. In my first 7 years of training, when I left Austin to move somewhere else, we did this pose. I would say I went to class twice a week, and we did this pose almost every class. And now I look back at some of my notes and stuff and I go, gosh, she was drumming something in us. And it was that root of the thigh to make space across the pelvic girdle for all sorts of poses, actually. It's not only important in the forward extensions, but very important in the backward extensions too. Okay, now you're holding the strap with the opposite hand. And the foot that's at the wall is not moving one bit. It's staying very firm. Pull the outer hip of the lifted leg back toward its socket, the skin that's around the immediate socket. Pull that back down towards the floor as you take that leg over. Movement is key, Shubha. Try. Get it to move. Get it to go. Yeah, get it to go. Stay firm, keep pushing the top of that thigh back and away. So if I was there, I'd take that belt and just give a nice tug, the traction belt, and move that hip back. Don't crowd your hip blade, pelvic area, or your abdomen. Make space there. Make space from the hip to your waist. How much space can you make? Okay. All right. Now release that. And you are that far away from the wall. So here I'll show, but we're going to do this. It's a Padmasana prep. We're going to do it now, but we're going to do some other things, and then we'll see how much you remember when we get to Padmasana, if this helped. But do you see about where my knees are? That's where I'm going to scoot up to the wall and put my buttocks. So it's about right there. So I scoot up, put my buttocks there, and I form this L shape at the wall. Can you see that? Both feet at the wall. This is also called, some chiropractors call this stretch the 4 stretch, the number 4. Okay, I will do my left leg first so that you can maybe see better, but I'll pick up the left foot and put the ankle bone outside the right thigh. Can you see that? It's not, the bone of the left foot is not on the meat of the top of the right thigh, but it's off of it. So I'm formed, if this leg was up, this is the numeral 4. You get it? Okay, now here's what's important. You can use your hands, your arms, whatever happens to, whatever helps you to use. I'll show you a couple different options, but your hips shouldn't tilt or go uneven. But what you'll do is start to bring the foot off the wall as this lift the leg that's up turns out, this thigh turns out, and you can see I've come here in the inner knee and I'm turning that thigh out, and then I just let that other shin drop towards the buttock, and I reach either way, and I try to bring this inner bent knee, well, both of them are bent, right? But the one that's closest to me, as close in as possible. You'll feel a big stretch on this whole ring of the outer hip. Tell me if you don't. So you're bringing that foot in, and you're not letting your hip, you're bringing the leg in, and you're not letting the hips go uneven. And you just patiently wait there. Yeah. Not so much happening, Chaya. Did you see what I was doing? So your knee should stay, let's see, go this way. Your knee should stay in line to your foot, not this. So, you might have to just stay here. Is that a better view? Yeah, and maybe you've done this before. Yeah, you can go more, Shubha, huh? Bring it in, bring it in. Yeah, get that right shin, inner shin, as close to your chest as possible. How is it, Ryan? Tolerable? It's tolerable. Okay, good. All right, and then release and put both feet back on the floor and get your hips level and even again. I'm sorry, both feet back on the wall. both feet on the wall so you get that nice alignment. And now you're neither doing, Devin talked about this, you're not doing a pelvic tilt and you're not flattening out the lumbars. You're in what's called a neutral pelvis. Can you experience that? It's kind of hard for me to explain it, but it's not tilted. You know, you're not pulling the abdominals to the floor and tilting your lower pelvic up, and then you're not pulling the abdomen towards the pubis. I don't know how else to explain that. Okay, now your other leg bends and it goes with the ankle bone outside the top of your quadricep. Try a little closer to your knee, Ryan, just a little closer up to your knee. Slide your foot up. Yeah. Okay, now put your right hand on the inside of your right knee and turn it out. Turn it, bring all that skin towards you. Yes, bring all the skin on that. The leg that's closest to you, that thigh has to roll out. Okay, and then you can let the leg that's at the foot that's at the wall come away from the wall. Bring that front shin closer to you, as close to you as possible, without letting the hips go uneven. Okay. Is it a good stretch? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's something I usually do most days. And you can also do it in a chair. You can also sit in a chair and do it. Okay. Now come out of that and just scoot yourself. You're pretty close to the wall, right? You're like this. So can you just scoot yourself to your wall? Place both your buttock bones on the wall. Join your legs and feet. Press your thighs into the wall. Press your backs of your knees into the wall. So you're basically doing, let's see, Supta Dandasana. Supta Dandasana. All right, now without letting your buttock bones leave the wall, take your arms up just right over your shoulders, palms face each other. And now you're pushing, remember that top of the thigh? It's basically right here at the where the crease meets your pelvis, right? The thigh crease meets your pelvis. You're pushing that away as you take your arms overhead. And you reach, you're pushing the thighs into the wall like crazy, very, very strongly. And you're making space in your trunk, in your cosmos. Your little universe there, make space, lots of space. You can go a little wider to get more of your arms on the floor, Ryan, if your shoulders are tight. Okay. All right, and now just roll to the side and come up. Sit in Upavishta Konasana. Upavishta Konasana. Let's see, have a brick and a blanket. I'll show you a couple options. Brick and a blanket. Now, if you normally, how do you know if you need to sit up on height? If when you sit in your Upavishta Konasana, you aren't upright. That's the main thing. You're stiff in the hips and your shoulders. You can't sit upright. You can't let's see if I show this way. This is extreme, but someone who's really tight. And I've had many students come to class and this is, you know, they just can't sit up and they can't get to be on top of those sitting bones. So if that's you, you sit up on some height, you know, a bit of a blanket, folded blanket, whatever you need. It's as if there's a broomstick behind you at your tailbone. All right, so here we are. Upavishta Konasana. We're going to go through 5 poses that lead us to Padmasana. So this is the first one. Press the thighs down, the root of the thigh down, the outer hip firm in the socket, and the hamstring to the buttock flesh, bottom of the knee, calf to the Achilles. I think I used the analogy or the illustration of a stamp. Like if there was a stamp of you in Upavishta Konasana, you would make this nice V shape with your stamp. Yeah. All right, so from Upavishta, we'll go into Arda Siddhasana. So I'll do the opposite image. So you'll take your right leg, so you're reaching underneath above the knee, and you're taking that thigh, reach with your other hand and turn the shin. This hand is still helping me turn that thigh out as well. And then I bring the foot in closer, then I reach underneath with the same hand, and I get the same heel in the same inner thigh. And I still sit evenly. Look at you. Easy to maintain. Great. Okay, take that leg out. Do it on the left. Notice which side it's easier for you to stay even on. There will be one of those sides unless you are enlightened. I jest, but yes, because I have some scoliosis, this is definitely the harder side for me. I have a right anterior tilt to my pelvis. All right, go back to your left, go back to Upavishta, and now go back to your left. Reach under, turn the shin to the floor. You can see how I'm taking that skin and see that your right shin bone faces the floor. Okay, and your sits bones are even. Okay, now your other leg comes in. And at first, if I reach under, so I still got the same hand as leg and I'm turning the thigh out. The other hand is underneath my ankle. And I just bring that foot in so that the 2 heels are lined up to the center of my pubic plate. Siddhasana. It's definitely a wide pose, whereas Padmasana is more narrow. There's all sorts of mudras you could take with your hands. This is Anjali mudra with the tip of the index finger and the thumb together. And you lift yourself up. You send those groins to the knees. The outer hips are firm and pulled back towards the socket, like medicine for the hips. Are you lifting up, Ryan? So you're not just casual. Are you lifting up? Are you okay? All right. All right, change sides. So that was your right leg was in first. So now you go with your left leg in first. Turn. Buttocks down, hips firm, outer sockets pulled in, and lift yourself up. This is soft. This is firm. I don't know how else to explain that, but that's the way that goes. Groin soft, outer thigh, hip socket pulled in. It's like they're pulling into the center of you. Okay. Go back to Upavishta. So that's the beginner's Siddhasana. So let's complete the pose. So your right leg. Okay, so instead of these heels being lined up, you know, here's how I have to do this. As I lean towards the front leg, I pick the foot up without taking the knee up and tuck it in between the thigh and the calf. It's found its little home there. And actually here my groins open up better. They feel more open and spread. Create space from that hip crease to that waist, all the way. I won't stop at the hip bone, you know, but from this crease all the way here, you're making this area longer. Your arms can help you lift up too, right? So here I've got that hand position and I'm pushing down and out into those knees and thighs and lifting myself up. Lift your, of course your front body is going to lift, but remember you got to lift your back body too. Okay, second side. You can always go back to Upavishta. Bring your left leg in. So this side's easier for me, but still I can reach, keep the knee down and just tuck that foot in. How's it going? It's hard to see, you know, because you guys are like these little thumbnails. Lift yourself up, roll the shoulders back, feel the broadness across your collarbones, feel the bottom of the breastbone lifting up. You should still be able to feel your sitting bones. All right, so we did Upavishta Konasana and Arda Siddhasana, now full Siddhasana. All right, so now you need to go back to Upavishta Konasana and have a brick. You can sit on, I actually am going to sit on something. Or Baddha Konasana. So you should be nice and warmed up for Baddha Konasana. Sitting up on a little bit of a blanket. And I just bring those feet together. Push the bottoms, the little toe side of your foot together and lift yourself up. Stage one. Okay, stage two. The narrowest way, it's nice if you have a foam brick, it's a little friendlier. Put the brick in between the feet. Hands back. Push into that brick. Outer hips pulling in. This reaching towards the inner knee. Push into that brick. So this is obviously the easiest way. Then, you know, if you want to work on Padmasana, you want to open up the hips, the groins, then you could do this way. And like little by little, you know, you might stay, 2 to 3 minutes in each version of these. Still pushing into those bricks. Yeah, and then the hardest way, the widest way, you might only get your heels, that's okay. Whew. So I'm just taking you through this because I want you to notice. Okay, we get rid of all that and you go back to your Baddha Konasana. I'm going to go without height. And look at that. It's better for me. Is it better for you? So it's something to be worked on daily. But just see. Was it better? Looks a little lower, Ryan. Yeah. Good. Okay. So then take that same blanket. Sit in Virasana. I'm going to make it a threefold this way. Yeah. Well, let's see. May have to go this way. I normally don't need anything, but I want to show it to you with support. So we're going to take Triangamukha Ekapada Pashimothanasana. So you start in Virasana. So I've straddled the blanket. I take the calf both back and out to the side, and I have a seat. So this can be whatever you need it to be, this height, whatever you need it to be. Now you'll keep your left leg in Virasana, and you'll just bring your right leg out. Maybe I need to go a little bit on an angle. All right, so what should be level, you should feel like you're listing to the straight leg side. And if you are, then you need to have a little bit more height underneath the side that you're listing towards. So now root of the thigh, down, down. Reach your arms up like Urdhva Hastasana. You can have a strap if you need it, but now you're going for the tops of your toes. Keep the root of the thigh going down. Keep pressing that straight leg down. Keep pressing your outer knee of the Virasana leg down. Lift up, up, up. It's not about so much going down. It's about going first upwards, lifting up, and then going forwards. Huh? The two groins here are moving away from each other. I don't know if you can feel that, but they are. Triangamukha Ekapada Pashimothanasana. We're just doing the Urdhva Mukha part. All right, release. Bring that leg back to Virasana and take your left leg out. It does get warm in this room in the evening because this is west. Whew. All right, reach the arms up. Press from the inner knee to the outer knee. Keep that outer knee down. Keep the root of that straight leg going down. Reach up, grab your big toes. Shoulders down, strap is fine. Lift up. Pick up your lower pelvic. Pick up your rib cage. Pick up your chest. Look up. Press that straight leg down. Don't list. See that you're going evenly over. So the center of your chest is in between the two legs. Triangamukha Ekapada Pashimothanasana. All right, and then release. Okay, you need a wall for this version of Janu Shirshasana, and you might want to have something to sit on. Because my wall is here, I want you to see me face on. So I'm going to have my left knee bent. You can have your right knee bent first. It does not matter. So I'm going to sit pretty close to the wall. And remember what we did in Siddhasana and Baddha Konasana. I turned that thigh out. I reached under and I bring the knee, hopefully in line to the hip. or thereabouts. If it goes more, that's great. I keep this knee and I've got the wall, the knees touching the wall. Okay, now a little bit Parshva in this pose is that you're turning towards the straight leg. So if you have your right leg straight, you're turning the pelvis from the left side to the right side. Keep that knee back. Now, keep the trunk lined up to the center line. So here's my navel, and my navel is lined up right to the inside of that right leg. I reach the arms up, and then I take a hold of the foot. Keep that knee back, keep it on the wall, lift up. Lift up the ribs, shoulders down. Just go up, Ryan. Up, up, up. Imagine I'm standing behind you and I'm lifting your ribs up off your pelvis. And then release. Turn around. Put your other knee at the wall, bend out to the side for Janushirshasana. Do you find that wall helpful? Yeah, okay. First time I did it with the wall, I found it very helpful. Yeah, Shubha, try not to let so much your buttocks turn so much. Take the knee back more. The bent knee back. Yeah, one buttock will be a little bit further behind than the other, but it's the knee that has to move back more. Your trunk should face forward. The two sides of your pelvis, your navel should be level. Okay, so now just turn towards the straight leg. Now reach the arms up and now exhale, grab your toes or whatever you can manage. Now go up with the trunk, up, pull the shoulders back, up, look up, Urdhva Mukha Janushirshasana. The hamstring of the straight leg goes from the back of the knee to the buttock flesh and it spreads out wide. As wide as it can be. That's how it's going to help you. And that's how it's going to get opened up. Got to create some movement in the hip sockets. That's what the forward extensions, a lot of them anyway, work on. Mm-hmm. So you're nice and even, Shubha. So can you lift up more on, I'm just trying to see because I can't see them. You're nice and even, yeah. And your knee's good, so yeah. So you can probably complete the pose. Chaya, go ahead, complete the pose. We didn't do it on the first side, but just see what happens. Go down now. Yeah, go down. Keep extending that left side. Keep extending that left side body. Yeah, I didn't have Ryan do it. He's not ready yet. Yoga meets you where you're at. Okay, inhale and come up. So in one of his many articles that BKS wrote about Padmasana, he said the poses that must be done often to get Padmasana are Upavishta Konasana. Well, of course, it starts with Dandasana. We did a little bit of Dandasana. Upavishta Konasana, then Siddhasana, Baddha Konasana, Triangamukha Ekapada Pashimothanasana. There's one more, Marityasana 1, which is amazing pose for the groins, but we're going to run out of time. And then Pashimothanasana. So let's just see what happens here. So just face me like this with your your legs just a little bit apart. If you sit in Tadasana on some height, it might help you in this pose. So I'll leave that to you. Take care of yourself. So I'll do the opposite side that you're doing. So I'm going to kind of just not paying too much attention to lifting my chest or anything. You know, I'm just kind of leaning forward, and I'm in a relaxed mode. Okay, I'm just leaning forward. I'm taking the hand just like we did all the other poses where we turn the thigh out. Then I reach under, and now watch. I'm going to lean over, never to let the knee come up. Never to let the knee come up, and try to get this foot as close to that hip crease as possible. Huh. How did it go? And so this is what I meant when I said, you know, Baddha Konasana, Siddhasana, they're wide poses. Padmasana is a narrow pose. So you're trying to bring that knee in as if it was still doing Dandasana. So bring your arms up behind you and lift up. Press that foot so that it helps you take the top of that thigh down in its place. And thereby it creates more space in the pelvic region from the crease to the waist. Okay, now we have to look. I want to do each side and then try it together. So I'm going to lean over. Be careful. If you have any problems when you straighten, hold the back of the knee and extend the back of the knee. Okay, second side. So I just kind of lean over, take that leg out, turn the knee out, reach under the calf and shin. Don't let the knee come up. Reach under and bring that foot in. Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't say this, and I should have, because you're right, your other leg wasn't that. So if this is really elevated, it should be supported. Right? Sorry, I didn't say that on the first side. Otherwise, it's down on the floor. All right, do you want to try doing both? Yes, no, maybe? Maybe. So if you want to not do it, you could repeat Janu Shirshasana. Okay, but otherwise, let's give it a go. So release. So we go back to the first side, turn that thigh out, reach under, keep the knee down, bring that foot in, and up. Okay, so now here's the tricky part. The knee might come up. Keep that foot in. You're leaning over. Turn that thigh out. Reach under. You see how I managed not to lift the knee? Now, this is my better side where I've got a little bit more evenness. A little bit of space there, but. Okay, so here's the good thing about Padmasana for the hips is that you've got your feet there, pressing that top of the thighs down, making space in that hip socket, making that hip socket firm. And you can feel it. If you just put your hands here, you can feel how that is firm. So those feet are pressing that root of the thigh down. Yeah. How about Urdhva Badanguliasana? Take the palms up, go up. Press your feet into those upper thighs and lift up. Yeah, nice. Okay, and then release. Remember, hold the back of the knee if you're not sure about your knee. Release. Hold the back of the knee, extend. Iron out the backs of your knees. Now we have to do the other side. So we did one side. Lean over, turn the thigh out, turn the calf out. And you lean over, turn that thigh out. Or Ryan, just do Padmasana. Or you could just do one leg, because you were doing okay with that. Yeah, there's half Padmasana, and I'm sorry we're running out of time. We could have done that, but I just went for it. So I'm just gonna come up and see. Ah, yeah, nice. So you work on getting it a little narrow, both of you, Chaya, and Shubha, both is good. Good pose. All right, we have to do the other crossing of the hand. Go up. Yeah. How about Tolasana? I'm not in my plan. Put your hands midway between the thigh and the hip. Lift up. Most guys can do this because they're strong. So when they're bound, right? You press, the abdomen pulls up and back, up and back. And lift. Huh. Yeah, it's good arm and shoulder work. Okay. Wow, how did the time go so fast? All right, release your legs. Tadasana. Iron out the backs of your knees. Press those knees down. Have whatever support you need to take Pashimothanasana. I'm just going to put this across there. You could have a bolster, you could have a block and a blanket, whatever you need. Pull the thighs, the hamstrings back towards the buttock flesh. Sit up straight and tall in Tadasana. Feel the backs of your knees. Now reach up. Grab onto the tops of your toes. Lift the rib cage up, shoulders down. Lift the bottom of your sternum towards your top of the sternum. And then hold the sides of your feet, bend the elbows out to the side. If you have glasses on, take those off. Head down. Move your back body forward, but more importantly, let it drape down along the sides of your body. Head supported so the brain can be a little quieter now. All right, now I have to give you something to reverse all this forward folding stuff. So let's just do one. Well, we'll have to do two quick Purvo-Tanasanas, and then we can do Savasana. So the bent knee Purvo-Tanasana, intense stretch of the front side of the body, the east side. So I place, oops, come a little bit more on the camera. Place my hands a little bit behind me. Already I'm lifting up. I'm creating a lot of length from the root of the thigh to the chest, and then I just pick up. And I unfold at that root of the thigh. Head back, push the floor, push your heels down, lift the buttocks, and come down. If that was all you can do, that's all you can do. If you want to do the full version, join your legs and feet. Rock. Take the hand slightly, 4 or 5 inches away from the body. Inhale, reach back. Exhale, lift. Try to get your toes down, lift the buttocks. Nice, yeah. Nice, Shubha. Straighten your knees at all costs. Unless you're doing the version 1 again. Sorry, Ryan. Nice. Very nice. All right, you've done your 2 and you can just rest in Shavasana. Lie down, be comfortable, have head support if you need it, if it feels better for you to have head support. And keep in mind that you get a very different Shavasana if you start, and I'm not going to tell you what the difference is, you figure it out, but if you start with your feet together and you press your thighs down and then you let go, as opposed to already having the legs, 2-3 feet apart and just plopping out anywhere. So let go of the arms, let go of the legs. Let yourself be comfortable there. Let loose everywhere. You might have an increased awareness, in the legs, in that top of the thigh area, in the outer hip socket, because that's what the emphasis was in today's class. But can you let your awareness spread everywhere? Let your consciousness spread all the way to the fingertips, to the little toes, all the way to the crown of the head. One of yoga's goals is that we have this feeling of the spread of our own consciousness everywhere. So we're more aware. Let your breath come to a quieter state. There's nothing to do. Just be there, relaxing and letting go. You may stay as long as you like, but if you need to get going, feel free to gently start coming up. Otherwise, you may stay and turn me off and stay. So if you don't know already, I think my class on Monday morning at 8 a.m. will be the first class taught back at the studio. And I will teach 2 classes back to back, 8 and 9:30. You know, that first class, those first classes, anything goes. I just, you know, people are saying, well, which class should I come to? I'm like, you know, just come to whichever one suits you, and, you know, we'll work it out. The idea was that the second class would be a little bit more advanced, but at the beginning of reopening, that may not be the case. So we'll see. Bring your hands to your heart in gratitude, humility, and devotion for this practice and for the community around us. Bow your heads down.